Hello, everybody, and welcome to Breaking Free from Golf Pain, Expert Solutions for Your Game. Hi, I'm Janice Thornton with JT Fitness and Golf, and I am so excited to have you here. So I want to go over some webinar expectations for you. Today, we're going to discuss different areas of pain or lack of mobility golfers experience. And then I'm also going to be providing you a few exercises for each of the pain areas so you can start living a pain-free life and improve mobility. And then introduce you to the Golfers Pain Solutions. So today, you're going to see me on the split screen and I'll be having the slides on one side, and then I am going to be moving my computer around a little bit so that way you can see me. So please bear with me when I have to adjust the way that it looks on the screen so that way you can see me actually demonstrate the exercise. So today, if you actually want to follow along with me and do the exercises with me, you will need a mat, just a regular chair, and then a towel. If you have like a hand towel, that'll be perfect because there's some great exercises that we're going to be doing. And then if you have any kind of questions, please feel free to type them into the comments on here. And then at the end of the webinar, once we get off, I'll go back and answer any questions that you may have. So let's go ahead and jump on in. So just a little bit about me. I'm Janice Thornton, and I am the owner of JT Fitness and Golf. I love golf. I've been playing for over 22 years at this point, and I love fitness. So I love helping others age backwards. Fortunately, I'm closer to that 60-year mark, so I want to be able to help others play golf for a really long time. I've been in the health and wellness industry for over 3 decades. And I now have an in-person and online personal training business here in Cave Creek, Arizona. I have the pleasure of being the Tatum Ranch Golf Club Ladies Senior Club Champion from 2022 through 2024. I also have a lot of certifications in golf fitness. One is through the Titleist Performance Institute. I have levels 1 and 2 fitness. I have the Golf Digest Golf Specialist certification. I have the NASM Golf Specialist certification, a Golf Forever Swing Trainer certification, a True Term Pro certification. I've also written a golf fitness course for personal trainers, physical therapists, any healthcare professionals who need continuing education. You absolutely can get that through my golf fitness course. And I like to tell people that I'm actually kind of greedy. I want my friends to be healthy and strong. So I have people to play with well into my 60s, 70s, 80s. And if I can make it to my 90s, I would love to do that also. So I love sharing information that I receive so I can share it with you. And that way, hopefully I can help you live a more productive life, injury-free life, and a pain-free life as well. So let's dive into the 4 pain solutions and the 4 most common pain areas that golfers have. Now, are there more than these 4? Absolutely, but I'm going to stick with these 4 today. So we're going to be looking at the neck, the shoulders, the back, and the knee. So let's look at the golf pain epidemic though, but why does this happen? And I have 3 quick reasons. One, to think about, golf is such a repetitive sport and it's on one side of our body that we use. Most of us don't play golf with both hands. I'm left-handed, but I play golf right-handed, but there's no way I can swing a club left-handed to save my life. I don't know about you, but there's no way that I'm going to be doing it. Poor movement patterns lead to overuse and compensation. So if we don't have that perfect golf swing, and even if we did, because it's a one-sided sport, that leads to the overuse and compensation. And we want to make sure that we work both sides when it comes to golf. And then if we have lack of mobility and flexibility in certain areas, guess what? That leads to a lot of pain in many different areas. And you'd be amazed at how, for example, if your thoracic spine doesn't move that well, how many areas of your body this actually impacts. So let's look at the joint by joint approach. And with this, we're looking at whether your joints should be stable or whether they should be mobile. And we want our ankles, hips, and thoracic spine to be mobile. We want our feet, knees, and lumbar spine to be stable. And if we have our ankles that aren't mobile, guess what? Our feet and our knees have issues. If our hips aren't mobile, we're going to have low back pain and our knees can hurt, and it can even go down into our feet. If our thoracic spine isn't mobile, that can lead into our shoulders not doing well, or our neck not doing well, or our low back and our hips. So everything is intertwined when it comes to our body. But our skeleton is amazing and we can change everything. You are never too old to improve how well your body functions. So you might have your starting point, but guess what? You can always make it better. And that's what makes this so powerful. So there's some keys to pain-free golf. One is most pain comes from a breakdown in stability or mobility. That's going to be the biggest thing. But we want to fix the root cause, not just the symptoms. So let's make that happen. So let's dive into the body parts and do some exercises that you can implement today. And again, I'm going to give you 12 different exercises today in this webinar, so that way you are taking something home with you when you're finished. Okay, so let's dive into neck pain, because this one is no fun. There's nothing worse than trying to swing a golf club when you can barely move your neck. So let's look at some common issues, though, that we have. So again, fortunately, we have all this technology. At the same time, it really kind of drives us into poor posture. We end up with this forward head posture. We're always looking down at our iPhone or our tablets or whatever. We're at the computer, our heads are always down. And that does a lot of damage to our neck and our thoracic spine. It's called tech neck because, again, we're always looking down. And our necks will overcompensate, and then our necks overcompensate because we end up with restricted thoracic, spine. And we don't want our thoracic spine to be restricted. So you have your cervical spine, which is your upper neck. Your thoracic spine comes next. And then you have your lumbar spine down at the bottom. And then you've got our coccyx. So with that, with the neck, we want to do corrective exercises. So we want to make sure we work our deep neck flexors, and then we want to have lower cervical stability. We want to have upper cervical stability, and then this will alleviate pain and improve posture. So if you look at the picture that is on the right, you can see that the neck is forward, the chin is jutting forward. We want to have our ears and our shoulders in alignment, but because of so much tech neck, that this causes our heads and our chin to kind of jut forward. And I'm going to get into that with an exercise in a minute. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to do a seated spiral twist and reach. And then I want you to grab a towel if you have one. And we're going to do an arms overhead neck rotation with a towel. And then I'm going to pop on the floor with a mat to do a quadruped cervical nod. And you're going to love doing that one. It feels so good on the neck. Okay, so the first one that I'm going to do is a seated spiral twist. So let me push my chair back. And then I'm going to rotate this down just so you can see. Okay, so I'm going to sit on the edge of my chair. And I'm going to put my hand down. I got to make sure I don't slide off. I'm going to bend, hinge at the hips. Oops, I'm going to make sure I can get back here a little bit. This way. I'm going to have my hand down by my ankle, and my palm is going to be, my right palm is going to be on my right ankle. I'm going to take my left palm over my right, and then I just want to rotate up toward the ceiling and then come back down. Make sure you breathe when you do this exercise. Do it like for a minute on each side. Just go up and down, nice and slow and controlled. Bring that arm up and rotate. Look up at the ceiling and come back down. This is a great exercise to do to really get some rotation in your thoracic spine, because again, we want your thoracic spine to become more mobile, and then that's going to help also with your neck. And then when you are reaching up, really look up to turn that neck to look up at the ceiling. Okay, the next exercise is going to be arms overhead with a towel. So if you take a hand towel, roll it up. It's the perfect size. If you want a little bit longer towel, if you're taller, longer arms, feel free to have a little bit longer towel. But you're going to just reach up overhead, and I want you to pull the towel apart. Act like you're trying to pull it apart, and then you're going to turn your head to the left and to the right and come back down. You'll come back up. Now you're going to do this exercise for a minute. Nice and slow and controlled. You see how slow and controlled I'm going? Going up, squeezing my shoulder blades, pulling that towel apart, coming back down. Come on up. Come on over and back down. That feels so good when you're doing it, because when you're pulling the towel apart and squeezing those shoulder blades together, keeping those shoulders down, it just helps everything, to me, helps everything relax, so I can actually move my head side to side, and keeping it slow and controlled also makes a huge difference. Okay, we're going to get into a quadruped cervical nod in the next exercise. So let me tip my camera down so you can see me on the mat. So we're going to get on our hands and our knees. And I talked about having the forward head. And so that's one thing we want to avoid when it comes to this exercise. We're going to get on our hands and our knees. And I don't want you to be sunk into your shoulders. Get yourself out of your shoulders, tuck your chin down, and you're going to nod your head down and then come up. Exhale as you breathe down, tuck that chin and up. Now, if you notice, I am only moving at the top of my cervical spine. Now, if you have your head kind of forward and going down, you're going lower into your cervical spine, and we don't want that. We want to make sure that you are getting the top of your cervical spine, your atlas and your axis. And that does make a difference. So make sure that when you're on all fours, get out of those shoulders, and then tuck that chin, and then flex down. Okay, so those are the 3 neck exercises for you to do. And then now, let's jump into shoulder pain. Nobody likes shoulder pain. And of course, we all know that a lot of people carry their stress in their shoulders, in their neck. So what we're going to look at, though, when you want to focus on the shoulders, there's 3 different areas for you to focus on. We got to look at your thoracic spine. What is your mobility there? We have to look at your scapula area to see what's your mobility and how stable is this joint. And then we got to look at your shoulder joint to make sure everything is mobile there. So we want to enhance the rotation and extension and movement of the thoracic spine, increase stability and strength around the scapula thoracic joint, and then mobilize and improve range of motion and the glenohumeral joint. So our thoracic spine, we're going to find that this little area makes a big difference in our bodies. And when we have stiffness and pain there, it affects a lot of different areas, because the primary role of the thoracic spine, if you remember by the previous picture, is mobility. And the thoracic spine can achieve significant rotation, extension, and flexion. So forward and backwards and rotation. And when the thoracic spine does become tight, this is where the shoulders become overworked and the shoulders start to have their pain. So let's look at the shoulder area though. We can't just look at the spine, we got to look at the scapula as well in that area. So if you have poor scapular stability, you're going to have shoulder pain. And then you're going to have rotator cuff issues, and you may have loss of range of motion. So if you have any kind of shoulder pain, we have to be looking at mobility and to see mobility and strength, or stability and strength. So let's do an exercise right now. You're all sitting at your desk watching me. So let's go ahead, and I want you to get into a crouched position. Like sometimes if you've been at your computer for a long time, we kind of get slouched over like this. So I want you, so I don't hit my camera, I'm going to sit on the edge of my chair. I'm going to slouch over. I just want you to put your arms out in front, tuck your head, and then see how high you can raise your arms up. And oh my goodness, I can't get very far. But that's a slouch position. And then I want you to go into an upright position, like sit really tall, get those shoulders back, head up, chin up, and then put your arms up above your head. So you can see how much farther you can go when you have good posture. So it's important that we maintain that mobility, maintain all that good stuff, because that exercise alone shows you how much that you need to be able to continue that range of motion. So let's dive into some shoulder exercises. And I'm going to, 2 of them are standing, and then 1 is on the mat. So bear with me while I adjust my camera and all that good stuff, because I want you to be able to see everything. Okay, this first one is internal external rotation. And you're going to just need a wall to be able to lean up against. So your feet will be a few inches from the wall. I want your butt on the wall, your mid-back, and your head on the wall. And bring your arms up to 90 degrees. Now I want you to be able to keep your arms on the wall and then rotate your arms up and down. So we're doing internal and external rotation of our shoulders. And gauge where you are when you do this. How far can you rotate your arms up and down? And then also, are you maintaining your butt on the wall, your shoulders on the wall, your head on the wall? Are you putting an arch in your back so you can do better? So take notes of all those different things, because you should not have an excess arch in your low back. And then another one, wall slides. Now you're going to see something about me that I need to work on wall slides. I'm trying, oops, went the wrong way. So on wall slides, since we're at the wall, have your feet, a few inches from the wall. Your butt needs to be on the wall again. So your mid, back, and head. You're going to put your arms at 90 and then slide your arms up the wall. You can see that my right arm does not do as well. I'm trying to get it up there. Oh, my elbows don't stay on the wall, but can you maintain your elbows and your hands on the wall? So there you go. I'm not very good on my right arm. I have to work on my mobility. And I picked that exercise specifically because I knew I wasn't very good at it. And I didn't want every exercise that I show you that I'm good at to make you think that I don't need work too, because we all do. Okay, it's like I am not perfect either. So now I'm going to dive into, it's a half kneeling T-spine rotation. And with this, I like to use a foam roller, and this is a short foam roller. This is like a, what is this, a 24-inch foam roller. And this is great for this exercise. So I am going to, I'm gonna have my left leg to the wall, my right knee is up, and I'm going to put the foam roller, and I'm gonna push my right knee into the wall. I'm gonna have my arms up, and then I'm gonna rotate open as far as I can go, pushing my knee into that foam roller and back. I'm gonna open myself up. And you wanna try to get yourself so your arm can touch the wall behind you and really open up that spine. And this is another area I need some work on this side. And it's my right side that is stuck. So I can work on this. And then of course, you want to do that for a minute. All these exercises, do for a minute, nice and slow, set a timer, and then make sure that you are doing both sides, especially on that exercise. And I would also recommend for the wall slides and internal external rotation. If you can do this in front of a mirror, also, if you have access to a full length mirror, take it to wherever your wall is, because you can actually watch yourself do it and you'll catch yourself wherever you're cheating and that kind of thing. And that's what you want for sure. Okay, so now we're going to get into back pain. A lot of people have low back pain, and a lot of golfers have low back pain, and there's a lot of reasons why. So areas that are going to affect the back. A lot of times we have tight hips, we have thoracic spine mobility issues, and then we will have weak glutes and core muscles. And all of this will affect the back. So if you're someone who has back pain and you don't work on any of this stuff, you're going to always continue to have back pain, but you can get rid of it. So let's look at stability in the lumbar spine. What is the role of the lumbar spine and how does it pertain to golf? So when we have a stable lumbar spine, we are going to prevent injury. And that is for sure what we want to do. Think about the golf swing though. When we have a lot of torque that is on this golf swing, and this torque puts so much pressure, of this golf swing puts so much pressure on our low back that if we're not stable, we're going to just end up screwing up our low back. We have what's called the X factor in the golf swing. Now, when you look at professional golfers, they have tremendous X factor, meaning they can separate their upper body from their lower body quite well, and they do a great job. Amateur golfers, most of us, are not quite as good, especially if you are a higher handicap, for sure not, or if you're older, most likely you don't have that mobility in your body unless you work at it. But when you have a stable low back, your lumbar spine, you can help generate more power with that. And then think about your golf address. When you're addressing your golf ball, for those people who have a strong low back, strong core muscles, they're able to actually hinge at their hips. Where when you look at someone who's a higher handicap or they're an older adult, a lot of them are standing almost straight up when it comes to their golf swing because they don't have a strong low back. And when you have a strong low back, when you have a strong lumbar, this complements hip and thoracic mobility for sure. Let's look at the impact of tight hip flexors though on the lumbar spine and core muscles. So I want you to think about if our hip flexors are tight, this ends up pulling our pelvis forward into an anterior tilt. So this causes our low back to become excessively arched. So what does that do? That puts compression on our vertebrae. We don't want that. Stress on the discs, and it just causes our low back to hurt. So we want to get more flexibility and mobility into our hip flexors. And then also if we have tight hip flexors, this actually inhibits glute activation. And we want a stable pelvis, and we're not going to have that if we don't have good glute strength. And how does all of this impact the golf swing? So let's look at tight hip flexors in the golf swing. Tight hip flexors equal a decreased ability to rotate in your backswing. And we're going to prevent proper loading and a weight transfer, so to generate more power in our swing, because what do we all want? We all want to hit the ball farther. As we get older, what happens? We have this decrease in distance. At the same time, it's because we're less mobile. We are tighter. Our mobility isn't there. You can change it. You can still learn and hit that ball farther. Your body is never too old to do this stuff. Other things that happen in the golf swing, we can have early extension. We can have loss of spine angle. When our low back doesn't have that stability, when we don't have the core strength, we're not able to actually address the ball. Like I said earlier, high handicap people, they have a tendency to, stand up more in their swing, and you get the loss of posture, you get the early extensions, things like that. And then also, if you have tight hip flexors, you have a tendency to not be able to follow through as well in your follow through. And then your hips won't come with you. And then that puts stress on your low back and on your knees. And nobody wants that. So I've talked a lot about the thoracic spine because it is so important, and we can regain mobility in our thoracic spine. So the thoracic spine is where the rotation is actually supposed to occur in the golf swing. And this is where you can get your power from, because you can start creating a better X factor for you. And this is where once you start generating more rotation in your thoracic spine, this allows the energy transfer from your feet all the way through to your club head. And good thoracic spine mobility allows proper posture throughout the golf swing as well. So some swing flaws, all the swing flaws end up being the same. If you have loss of mobility in your thoracic spine, you're going to have early extension, an over the top swing, a reverse pivot, all of that. And when we lose our mobility, our body starts to compensate. And again, so then we increase our risk for injury. We have a reduction in club head speed, so therefore we lose distance. And then, of course, you increase your risk of low back pain. When your thoracic spine doesn't move well, guess what? Your low back pays the price for that. But once we regain extension and rotation in our spine, our thoracic spine, you take off that stress off your low back. You have improved swing mechanics and an increased swing speed. And overall, your health improves. And that is what we're looking for. So an approach to alleviating back pain, we want to unlock the thoracic spine and hips. We want to create stability in our lumbar spine and throughout our core. And we want to turn on our glutes for additional support. So the back exercises we're going to look at today for this one is the L-fold stretch, the pelvic tilt, and the glute bridge. These are vital for your low back and your golf game. Okay, so first, let's do the L-fold stretch. You're going to take that chair, take the chair, and I want your feet to be just shoulder width apart, and I'm trying to get the best in this screen since it's half screen. And I want you just to hinge over at the hips. You're going to stick your butt out, just extend out, and then lower your head, keeping your back flat. You don't want this curved back at all. You don't want excessive curvature in your low back. We just want a flat back. Lower yourself down, get your ears down by your arms, and just gently rock back and forth for like 20 seconds here. And then you can take your left hand and put it over your right and stretch back and forth. And then take your right hand over your left and just stretch. So if you're sitting at your desk, This is a great stretch to get up and do. Like I would make sure that if you sit at your desk 8 hours a day, get yourself up and do this stretch. You're going to feel rejuvenated if you do this stretch a couple times a day. It's really going to just help open up your back and open up everything. Okay, so now I'm going to adjust the screen again, and I'm going to get down on the mat. We're going to do pelvic tilt and the glute bridge. So I'm going to talk about the pelvic tilt for your swing. When it comes to our golf swing, the pelvic tilt is a very important move in your golf swing. And as we get older, people lose that ability to just move their hips front and back. And the pelvis front and back. And we want to be able to do this. So this exercise, I'm going to first do it standing and then on the floor. With this exercise, you want to make sure, let me try to get this as close tight. We want to make sure that we can put an arch in the back and then flatten the back and bring that pelvis forward. We're going to put an arch and then bring it forward. In your golf swing, when you are at impact, we start out in an anterior pelvic tilt in a golf swing. But when you start coming through the ball, we go into a pelvic tilt. And that's why it's important. Let's generate the power to get into that golf swing. But if you can't do a pelvic tilt, guess what? You're not going to be able to generate power into that swing. But when you do this exercise, please, please, please get in front of a mirror to do it, because it's very easy to get your knees involved and think that you just start bending your knees and you're not actually moving the pelvis forward and back. But let me show you on the mat, because this is not there. Okay. So on the mat, if you have a hard time doing this exercise standing, then the mat is a great place to do it. You just want your feet bent, or your legs bent, feet flat. And I like my hands just by my side. And you can even put your hand underneath your low back, so that way you can make sure that your pelvic tilting correctly. So your hips stay on the floor the entire time. And all you're going to do is press your low back into the floor, flatten your back. You should not be able to put your hand underneath your back. Then you want to put an arch in your low back, and this is where you should be able to put your hand underneath your back. And I just want you to practice pushing your low back down and then putting an arch. Push your low back down and put an arch. Push your low back down and an arch. Do this for a good minute. Now, if you have low back pain, this is a great exercise. Like if you are in bed and you want to wake up, you're waking up and all of a sudden you feel like, oh my gosh, my back is sore and stiff. This is a great exercise to do in bed. So don't feel like, do that exercise before you go to bed and then when you wake up. Okay, the next exercise is the glute bridge. Again, sleepy glutes, Tiger made them famous. And we want to make sure that our glutes are activated and we really can have sleepy glutes. So I want you to lay down on the mat and we're going to do a glute bridge. So your hands can be out to the side, to your side, whichever you would like, feet shoulder width apart. You want your feet about 6 to 8 inches from your butt. And all you're going to do is you're going to lift up, lift those hips up, and then lower yourself down. You're going to lift up. You want to get yourself up into as straight of a line as you can. Activate those glutes and then lower yourself back down. This is a slow and controlled exercise that you want to just go up and down for a minute and really activate those glutes. Just going up and down. Excellent. So that's another great exercise to do if you have low back pain. Okay, because we want to get those glutes fired up. Okay, hope you guys are doing good. Let me know in the comments. And let's get on to the next. Okay, so let's look at knee pain. Nobody likes knee pain. It is one of the worst. Actually, all of them are pretty much the worst. But let's look at the knee joint. So you've got our knee joint's a hinge joint. So that means it's for stabilization. Stability is all about the knee. And so we want to make sure that our adjacent joints are moving properly. 3 areas that can affect the knee. So our hips, we can have lack of mobility or weak hips. Our ankles and our feet can have lack of mobility. And then now we're back to the glutes. They're weak or sleepy. So our thoracic spine and our glutes are vital to our body functioning well. Okay, so we are going to dive into the knee exercises that you can do to help with this. And I'm going to do this seated ankle slides first. So let me push back because the other 2 are on the floor. And I'm going to move this down. Okay. Thank you for allowing me to move all my stuff around. I really appreciate it. Okay, so these ankle slides, you want to put your fists together and then your knees. And you're not going to be able to see my feet. I'm going to try that a little bit. Push back a little bit. Okay, this will be better. So I like to do this exercise with socks on, or as long as you can slide across your floor, that's what's going to matter. And you want to be able to keep your feet on the floor. So if you put your fists together between your knees, you want to keep your knees kind of pushed together in this exercise. You're going to extend one leg out and slide your foot forward and then slide your foot back. Now, you only go back as long as you can keep your ankle on the floor. You don't want to keep going back and raise up your ankle, then you defeat the purpose. So take note of how far you go forward or back, forward and back. Then we also want to go side to side. And side, keeping your foot flat on the floor, side to side. How far can you go over and over? And practice this exercise for 45 seconds to a minute on each side. And make sure you're going forward and back. You might find that ankle a little hard. The ankle might be hard to going backwards. And then side to side on both sides. And just go out to what your body will allow you, and same coming back. Work on inversion, eversion with that. Okay, so now we're going to do the frog stretch and clam shells. Hang on while I do this. Okay, so let's do frog stretch. I want you to get into a quadruped position. So you get on your hands and your knees, have your shoulders over your wrists and your hips over your knees. So then I want you to take your knees out wide, and then gently sit back on your heels. So just go up what's wide enough that you can do, and you gently just rock back and forth. Now, for some of you, doing this on a mat on a floor might be too much. So do it on your bed, so that way you have a lot of cushion with this. And some of you might not be out very far. Do what you can. And then if you want to add into this stretch, of course, you reach out in front, which will add even deeper into your hips. But this is a great stretch to do every single day. And then clamshells. Let's talk about our glutes, because our glutes get sleepy. We want to wake them up. You want to be on your side, Now you want to be directly on your side. You want your hips stacked, your knees stacked, your ankles stacked. When you do this exercise, you can have your head float, you can have it on a pillow. I'm just going to kind of put my hand here for support. Now I'm also going to take my hand, because I want to hit my gluteus medius and minimus to do this exercise. This exercise is a small movement. It's not a large movement. It's not about range of motion, how far you can go, because we don't want to be bringing this up and then rolling back. You want to keep these hips stacked and activating your glutes. That's what's important. So you're just going to raise up as far as you can and back down. You raise up as far as you can once your glute starts activating. This is why I put my finger on my butt, so that way I can feel when it starts to activate. Plus, you're telling your brain, hey, this is where I want you to go. This is what I want you to fire, is that these glute muscles, and wake them up, get them going. So do this for 30 seconds to 45 seconds and make sure that you are doing both sides. So those are the exercises I'm showing you today. But now I want to show you how you can really change what's going on. So what can you do? So you can build a consistent routine and daily routines. You can integrate exercises into your daily life. And when you do these consistently, you will change how your body works. It's going to become more efficient. You're going to feel better for sure. I have the Golfers Pain Solutions program, and I have a pain solutions for each place that we talked about. So there's a neck pain, there's a neck, shoulder, back, and knee pain solution. In each of these solutions, you're going to have an understanding of the why behind each exercise. You're going to have consistency that leads to impactful results, because this is a 21-day program that each day you have different exercises that you're going to be doing each and every day to help change and improve your body part that you want improved. You're going to minimize your pain and enhance your movement experience. And now there's over 49 videos for each pain solution. So the neck pain solution, that has over 49 follow-along videos. And the nice thing about these follow-along videos is they're literally 2 minutes apiece. So the first week, you're going to have a little bit longer instructions. So you have the how-to and why behind each exercise, and then you follow along. But literally, this takes 12 to 15 minutes a day. Everyone has 12 to 15 minutes a day. There's a pain solution guide with each solution. You have calendars that come along with this. You've got me emailing you all the time. Just kidding, but there are daily emails. You have a Facebook community that I'm starting new for this group, and then additional resources. So I have some testimonials on these. So Mark did the 21-day shoulder pain solutions, and he was consistent most days. Of course, we don't expect you to be perfect. And found that shoulder pain decreased significantly and had much better range of motion. And he could definitely tell in his golf swing. Jackie did the 21-day knee pain solution and loved it. Her hips and back feel so much better. Also, her golf swing has improved tremendously, and she has more mobility and less pain when she plays golf. And then Phyllis, she loved the 21-day back days pain solution. She sits a lot during the day, so the exercises gave her a great break each day, and she looked forward to her new routine each day. And Phyllis is the person who she actually broke up the 12 minutes a day into like 6 minutes a day. She would do half and twice a day, and she loved it because she really stuck to it, and just made her feel much better by the end of the day. Benefits of the Golfers Pain Solutions is that it reduces pain, improves your posture and mobility. It's going to improve your golf swing, and it's going to make golf a lifetime sport for you that you can play pain-free or a lot less pain than you are today. So I do have a new group starting on Monday, March 3rd, which is next Monday. Can't believe that's March already. So would love to have you join the Golfers Pain Solutions. You can actually, if you're watching on your laptop or iPad, take your phone and scan the QR code, or go to jtfitnessandgolf.com, Golfers Pain Solutions. And because you're on here today, usually this course is going to be $299 for the 21-day program, but instead I'm going to give it to you for $149. And if you get to see this, you're going to get a promo code, so please use it, called Golf Pain 50, and you're going to get an additional $50 off, and you can have this for $99 for the 21-day course. So the $50 off is going to go to the first 30 people though. And just know, once I finish this recording today, I will be posting this all over my social media. So be one of the first 30 to grab that coupon code of Golf Pain 50 to get the extra $50 off. And again, we start on Monday, March 3rd, and I would love to have you there, just because more the merrier. And if you have any friends that are friends or family or golfing buddies or whatever that you think could benefit from this course, please share with them that this is happening and that we're starting March 3rd. So I thank you very much for being on here. And if you have any questions, please put them in the comments and I will go ahead and I will respond to all of your questions that you have and would love to answer them. Would love to hear what you thought about the webinar. And I hope everyone has a great day.